Can you imagine a toilet that costs more than a car? Not a fancy toilet, not a gold-coated toilet, just a normal no-flush toilet costing more than a car. Well, Zimbabwe's election management body ZEC paid thousands of rands for toilets in an inflated deal that benefited none other than Wicknell Chivayo. And there's more. For this one, you have to brace yourself because it's got everything. Think politics, think big money, think toilets, like I said, and think of a man who makes it rain like it's a full-time job. Welcome back to Dug Up, and let's dive in. So here's what kicked things off. A financial intelligence report, one of those no-nonsense types. It was sent to Zimbabwe's Financial Intelligence Unit. The message in that report was loud and clear. It was basically the South Africans saying to the Zimbabwean authorities, hey, there's something fishy going on with the South African company called Renform CC and a guy called Wicknell Chivayo. The purpose of that report was to alert the Zimbabwean authorities to possible acts of money laundering and other financial crimes. The suspects were that entity named Renform CC, whose registration number is 1992001-051/23. I hope I got that right. And the subject matter was none other than Wicknell Munoda-ani Chivayo. We have his passport numbers, but we won't share them for data protection purposes. So, when did this all start? Well, it all started when Daily Maverick, the South African publication Daily Maverick, I've worked for them before, I've worked with them. They dropped an article exposing Renform's alleged role in 570 million corruption scandal involving Zimbabwe's election materials. Leaked documents that Daily Maverick probably saw, they showed wildly inflated prices, mysterious payments, and a curious character by the name of Wicknell Chivayo, who it was alleged had paid off government officials with proceeds from that particular deal with Renform. The report actually includes this line, in quotes, if I get it correctly. Extensive bank statement analysis revealed that a company linked to Wicknell Chivayo received over 570 million rand from Renform, money that came from Zimbabwe's Ministry of Finance and Economic Development. And with that, we've got ourselves a financial thriller, if you like numbers and if you like maths, but we'll also keep it short in summary for you. Here's where things start to look like a budget horror film, except that the budget was 1.1 billion rand, and it's our horror. Basically, between April 5, 2023 and May 16, 2024, Zimbabwe's finance ministry paid 1.167 billion to Renform CC, a South African company, a South African printing company that somehow ended up supplying everything from ballot papers to biometric kits for Zimbabwe's 2023 election. Roughly 800 million of that money, or from that 1.1 billion, once it got to Renform, boom, it went straight to companies that are owned by Chivayo. We're talking of Intratech Holdings, we're talking of Dolintel Trading Enterprise. That's right. Basically, Renform gets this 1.1 billion from the Zimbabwean government, and in no time, it's zipping out of the back door straight to Wicknell Chivayo linked businesses. Imagine a bank account that's basically a trampoline for millions and millions of rands. That's precisely how this happened. Now, you might ask yourself, how did Renform even get that gig? How is Zimbabwe paying Renform that much amount of money? Well, in simple terms, ZEC, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, they handpicked Renform. There was no tender, there was no competition, no problem, straight up 1.1 billion for you, sort out our elections. And we didn't know about all of this actually until Chivayo fell out with his business partners, Mike Chimombe and Moses Mpofu, over how to split the commission. Yep, commission. Not a payment for services, commission. Their private squabble spilled into the public when leaked WhatsApp messages and voice notes between Pofu and Chivayo and Mike Chimombe, when they made it into the public domain, suggesting that Chivayo had paid top officials to secure that particular contract. Now, Chivayo himself, he denied it, of course, and he claimed it wasn't his voice in those clips, and even apologized to President Mnangagwa, to the former spy boss Isaac Moyo, and to Justice Chigumba, the head of ZEC, among many others, for any adverse impression that he had created, that they were corrupt. And now let's talk prices, because this is where the absurdity hits peak levels. Renform charged 23 million rand for a central server. You can get the same server online for around maybe 90,000 rands in today's money. Renpark also supplied 2,000 non-flushing toilets. These toilets were priced at 68,700 rand each. The going retail price for these toilets is about 10,000 rand. And the biometric voter registration kits, they were originally quoted for 5,000 US dollars per unit. But for some reason, by the time that the invoice was paid by the Minister of Finance, they had ballooned to $16,000 each. For reference, similar BVR kits, they cost 3,600. We know this because the UNDP bought them for Honduras round about the same time or close to that. So where did all these extra cash go to from 5,000 to 16,000? Well, you probably guessed right. It went to commission. And of course, if you're asking yourself what happened once the money hit Chivayo's pockets, well, it didn't sit there. From the 800 million rand that he got, 36 million rand went from his company account to his personal account, and then it was used to purchase cars. 5.4 million rand went to a car dealer called Daytona, 1.6 million went to Flight Center South Africa, and 5.6 million went to NN Truck and Trailer. Another 1 million rand went to a Zimbabwean makeup brand called Christian by Hadassah. May remember Hadassah, she was in Wicknell's screenshots at some point, but nonetheless, 28.8 million rand went to Kumba Group, 9.4 million rand went to Indigo Logistics, and not forgetting 4 million rand that was sent to a law firm called Strauss-Scher Inc. Maybe legal fees or just planning ahead. One company, Asibambeki Platinum Group, received a whopping 351 million. It's listed under its sole director, Emmanuel Musanyenda. Now, all this rapid movement of funds, it triggered red flags at multiple banks. One, Standard Bank, with an account number ending in 094, it was flagged twice. Not once, twice. The particular account was opened in 2016 with income listed as salary/wage. Then come 2024, that account, almost dormant, starts suddenly receiving round numbered payments from Intratech and blasting out interbank transfers and card purchases like nobody's business. Now, South African financial authorities are no pushover, so they were quickly alerted by the banks, and the FIC noted that this sort of layering of funds, the rapid movement from one account to another, they thought that was a hallmark of money laundering. Notably, there was a Eden Breeze, another Chivayo-linked company, that got 156 million rand from the same ministry for technical services. And once it got that money, it sent big chunks of that cash to Wicknell Chivayo's businesses. Now, the FIC's findings, they were sent to the South African Police Service. That's what we are told, SAPS. We are also told that the Directorate for Priority Crime and Investigation, commonly known as the Hawks, I believe, they are also aware, and South Africa's Revenue Services, SARS. And guess what? even Zimbabwe's Anti-Corruption Commission was alerted to these things that didn't make sense, this clear and blatant corruption. And in the past, ZEC promised to probe those election contracts, but as of now, to be honest, that probe by ZEC, it seems to be missing in action. So let's recap this particular story. We have a contract with no tender. We have a company that sells 10,000 Rand toilets for nearly 70,000 Rand, which is the price of a car. We have a businessman who then moves hundreds of millions and he spends it like he's clearing a shopping list, like he's in someone's Shane cut or something. And authorities that are watching closely, or much rather, you could say sleeping with their eyes open. Whatever the case, the numbers don't lie. Over 1.1 billion Rand was paid, and from that 1.1 billion Rand, it appears only 300 million was retained by Renform. The rest of the money, well, it went to buying luxury SUVs and to Wicknell's shopping parties. Keep your eyes on this story because when elections start costing Rolls-Royce money, someone's joyride is coming at the public's expense. Make sure to hit like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments, and we will catch you in the next one.